Welcome to this panel discussion where we're going to talk about how fintechs and banks and entities are building applications together and what are their go-to-market strategies. I've got with me Hitesh Addev, who heads partner initiatives and bringing in fintechs within ICICI Bank. He has been with the bank for 18 plus years and has been managing multiple portfolios during this stint with ICICI. I welcome Hitesh to start off with his keynote speech before we go into our panel discussion. Welcome, Hitesh.
Hey, hi friends. It's immense pleasure to be amongst all of you. Uh, I'm Hitesh Sajdev. I manage startup engagement and startup investments at ICICI Bank. Uh, so ICICI Bank has been the believer in technology, and we have used technology as the force multiplier for all our businesses. Uh, we have a culture of uh, using technology and technology as a lever in terms of augmenting businesses, mitigating risks in our businesses, or enhance the experience on our digital properties. Uh, there is a lot more innovation which is happening in the startup ecosystem, and we have created a platform with a vision to collaborate and partner with the startups to create innovative products and services which we can roll out in the ICICI Bank ecosystem. This also helps us in promoting innovation at edges, and it enhances the risk taking ability and experimentation, and also creates and builds a culture of innovation within the organization. We have been focused around all areas of uh, banking per se, whether it's lending, payments, investment advisory, or there are or risk mitigation, or there are enablers which helps us in many different ways to solve some of the problems which we face in our day-to-day businesses. Our objective to kind of work with startup is fourfold. One is to work with them and create new business opportunities and new business segments within the bank. Second objective is to enhance the customer experience for all our digital properties. Third objective is to work with startups, create solutions which can help us do our offer our products or services in a more efficient manner, and thereby help us reduce the cost. And fourth objective is, are there any solutions which can help us mitigate our risk in a better way? So with this thought process in mind, we have created this platform where we have on the one side our business groups, our technology group, and our ICICI group companies, which have certain sets of problem statements or certain innovative thoughts, which we kind of debate, discuss, and post that we try to find out tech solutions through startups, and marry both of them to create a solution which can be consumed by our internal stakeholders. To do that, now we run various activities to engage with the startup community. So we run hackathons every year, wherein we invite developers, early stage startups, and we also give them access to our APIs, so that using those APIs they can create products, and we also give them sample customer journeys. And our promise to them is that once they create the product, we will use those products into ICICI Bank ecosystem. And some of the innovations like smart keys and some of the other products have been the outcome of the hackathons which we have been doing year on year. And we have seen huge participation not only from India, from across the globe on all these hackathons which we conduct. The second way to collaborate is we work with a lot of accelerators, incubators. We also created a problem statement repository wherein any of these startups can access it and figure out if they want to work on any of these problems and solve it for us. We conduct demo days every 2 months, when we invite select startups to come and pitch with all of our various stakeholders in the bank. The objective is to see if the fitment of those solutions are there, decide then and there, and start the POC with those startups. And if those POCs are giving good outcomes, make it a commercial arrangement to take those services and products. The I would bifurcate that generally what a startup would need, right? I think they need two things. One is that, hey, look, as a large enterprise, when they approach us, they kind of pitch that, hey, look, we have an idea, but we don't know whether this idea is something which, if we create a product out of this idea, you are going to consume it or not. So we work as a validator for those ideas, and not only as a validator, we work with them, nurture that idea, give inputs, work hand in hand with them, create a product out of it, and which we consume in the ICICI Bank ecosystem. So somebody who has an idea and wants to validate and create a product out of it, I think it becomes a very powerful platform. And not only that, out of the select few ideas where we feel scale, we can create a scale, we also have created a separate fund to invest into those ideas and those startups. So we are investing also. So the two needs of a startup about validation of an idea, and then requirement of funds to commercialize that idea, we give support on both those fronts. A couple of examples in terms of areas where we have worked with startups. I can give you names. Like we have been working with startups like Scienzy or Karza Technologies to improve the entire customer onboarding experience, wherein these startups have brought on a lot of APIs for the verification of KYC documents, authentication using their AI and ML technologies. We have been also working with startups like Cogno AI to give a better user experience in terms of interaction and engagement on our digital properties through chatbots, through voice banking, which is enabled on Google and Alexa, and some of our platforms like Money to India, which is our flagship platform for remittances. Similarly, on the payments, we have been working with startups like FinPay, which they are helping us to penetrate to garner the rural customer, semi-urban and rural customer base, wherein they provide payment solutions using APIs, Rails, and using biometric data, and they have been serving these customers along with us using our switch. So it's a great partnership which has been coming to the fold. The way it's kind of accelerating day by day, and we have been processing huge amount of volumes through their platform. Neobank is another buzzword in the fintech world, and we have been at the forefront in terms of launching the first neobank with Open, on the SME to serve the SME customers. The Open was part of our accelerator program, and the entire concept and the product was created as the part of this accelerator program. Similarly, we are working with Wisely to create a neobanking solution for the millennials. We have launched our own neobank, which is platform called Mine. I would urge all of you to look at that platform. It's one of the finest platform targeting to millennials. Then we have launched some products which are in partnerships along with startups like Karza Tech, wherein we are using automated solutions to read GST data, and we have launched a GST OD product using those data points. Similarly, we are working with a startup called SetSure, wherein we are using satellite data provided by them for our agribusiness and our collection businesses. Apart from that, we are also co-creating lending portfolios with some of the startups like Lending Card, PayU, Off Business, Car Dekho, Cast24. These are the couple of startups where we have been from the day one working with them, creating these lending products, and which are very tailor-made, bespoke products which were created kind of for these platforms. some of the industry initiatives which we have taken are, we have created a online arbitration platform, wherein the vision is that on the one side there will be arbitrators and there will be defendants and plaintiffs on the other side, and the claimants. The idea is that the court process takes longer period of time and it is very cumbersome as also at times. So can we create a channel for online dispute resolution? And this is an open platform. It is not restricted to banking. It is an industry-wide platform. We have been experimenting on this platform, and we have conducted few lok adalats. It's one of its kind, and this will save a lot of time in resolution of disputes, not only in banking but for other industries as well. So this is an industry-wide initiative which we have taken. Apart from that, we also run accelerator program in partnership with various stakeholders, and idea is to run these accelerator programs to nurture the startups, work with them, give them the required support, be it support from the perspective of mentoring from the senior leadership team, giving them access to our APIs, or getting experts on various topics to help them for problems they are encountering. And then the last piece is about investments, which I mentioned earlier, that scalable ideas, we are very much open to look at those ideas and work with them, create products, and also invest into them and help them take to the next level. So I would sum it up that we are a bank which is open for innovation, which is open for working with startups. I would welcome you all to come and share your ideas, share your products, innovative products and services with us. We are very open to discuss, work with you, and one of the most, I would say that we are one of the most startup friendly banks. Thank you. I'll now invite Somendu to kind of take it over from here.
Thanks, Hitesh. It's quite interesting to see the kind of work you and your team have been driving within ICICI, and some of those initiatives which are essentially helping the fintech community to be able to kind of open up and start partnering with large corporate, because the biggest challenge most fintech comes across would be the kind of use cases that would be of value. And the two key points that you called out is, one is you could help validate, given that you have enough customer problem statements that could get double check, confirm from a business standpoint. And two, if the idea works well, you're also proposing that you would be funding them as well. So it's like a fantastic platform, I can see. And the fact that you're already working with quite a few startups in that space on an ongoing basis is also very encouraging to this community on the whole. So I think this is extremely good. We will discuss more on it. So I'll probably take now the opportunity to welcome Saumendu Ganguly, the Vice President who heads products, analytics and data within CAMS. Saumendu, it's great to have you as part of this discussions where we are going to discuss about how fintechs, banks, intermediaries in capital market, which is your area of expertise, put up Sandbox and help fintechs go into, help into the go-to-market strategy. So, and I think I'll probably start with this question to you, Saumendu, knowing that you are part of the panel with SEBI, which kind of proposed the innovation sandbox sometime mid last year, which is a fantastic initiative from SEBI itself. Given that it wants to look at opening up its information to of course through regulated mode to participants who could come and capitalize on it from improving the capital market experience overall to the industry. So why don't you share some thoughts about what exactly is this initiative, and you being part of the chair, how does it help the capital markets within India?
Sure. Thanks, Satish. Thanks for the opportunity to talk with all the people who have gathered on this call. And thanks, Hitesh, for talking about what ICICI is doing in promoting startup ecosystem. Hitesh and Satish, what you asked the right question that, what is the concept of this innovation sandbox? So what happened is, maybe around 2018, 2019 is when SEBI was toying up with this idea of how to make the capital markets more inclusive, which means that if you or I or a guy studying in one of the IITs or NITs or SRM Chennai has an idea that he wants or she wants to take the concept of capital markets, the ability to invest in capital markets to anybody and everybody across this country, uh, how would we enable that and set up that ecosystem? So SEBI came up with these two concepts. One is regulatory sandbox and one is innovation sandbox. Now, innovation sandbox is a committee set up by SEBI which have all the MIIs, which means that NSE, BSE, CDSL, NSDL, and the RTAs, which is CAMS, Carby, and Lincoln Time. All of these players are part of that sandbox, which means that you have an idea, you can come to this sandbox, which is a central part, and you can submit your idea. You can get access to data, which is test data from any of these players, to test your idea and see how the customer journey moves. So let's take an example that you have a great algorithm that suggests stock picks to a person who does not understand stocks. So you can come to this sandbox, and the sandbox kind of has a kit using which you will get access to data and APIs, which will let you define and devise a KYC journey, then let your algorithms kind of give out stock suggestions and let people invest through that. And once that the proof of concept is done and demonstrated to this MII, you can very quickly get all the regulation part done by the SEBI and become an actual player in the market. So the concept to market time is shrunk like anything, because you get at a single part access to everything, all the data, all the accessories. Otherwise, if you are a new guy, I mean, think about it that let's say you have an idea in the mutual fund ecosystem. You would have never heard of things like folio. What is the concept of folio, right? And what is the concept of non-financial transactions? Or if you want to do initiate a stock investment platform, what is the concept of demat, non-demat, all of that. So it kind of simplifies all the access problem, all the jargon problem, and gives you a single point of contact or single window, so as to say, where you can come, showcase your idea, get access to data, and take it to market very quickly. So that's what was the idea behind what SEBI Innovation Sandbox came into picture, and we have already gotten close to 10 plus applications where people have come with different kinds of ideas. Like somebody came up with a idea of a exchange on blockchain, right? Where they came up with this idea that they can dematerialize any asset. Like if I have 100-acre farm somewhere, I can dematerialize that and put that farm on this exchange, and somebody can be a stake shareholder of that. So we are getting all these kinds of great ideas, and the idea of innovation sandbox kind of makes it easier for that person or that organization to take it to market or make it market ready. So that's what the Innovation Sandbox Committee helps with or was formed, and is in the path of doing.
Yeah, I think that's really very interesting, Samindu. I think a great initiative, because most often, as you rightly said, see, you picked up those technology areas that you're talking about. Hitesh called out in his area where his focus area or what the bank is looking at is AI, data, blockchain, and these are areas which are probably very short of skilled competency in the market. And every industry is trying to solve something using these technologies. So obviously there is a demand to supply, this disparity, and such cooperation, when it gets handled from government initiative like SEBI or large corporate initiative like what Hitesh talked about from ICICI, opens up opportunity. And these are skill set that we see the fintech technology companies are able to bring in. But like you said, a person who's extremely good on analytics or data science may not really understand what are the true business problem, or may not even understand some aspects of what happens within the capital markets to the extent some of you are. And that's where the bridging needs to happen. So I'll probably start with Hitesh. Hitesh, you talked about uh, you have a repository where people can log all their problem statement that could be potentially solved, or typical business problems that you come across, and there is an opportunity to optimize better, or even completely reimagine that within your bank. Now, how often does it get refreshed? And you also said some of these ideas have been brought into products or services as customer experience to your end customers. So what is a typical cycle like, and how often does it get done, and how do you kind of share this with the fintech community?
So I think it's an ongoing process. We continue strive to improve, and figure out whatever problems are there, which can be solved through tech. So we are a strong belief that technology can help us accelerate all our businesses manifold, and we are always in lookout for many more new use cases. And the approach is, it is two-way approach. So one is that we have some set of problems which we always keep discussing with the startups and the various stakeholders in the startup ecosystem. The second approach is that at times startups who have thought about certain innovative products or ideas, they come and pitch with us. So it works both ways. And one has to constantly, it's a, I would say it's not a journey with a destination in mind. It's a journey which is an ongoing journey. And on the path of discovering more and more innovations, you keep encountering new and new ideas and new solutions, and one has to keep experimenting with those ideas and solutions uh, with an open mind. That's what we believe in, and we have been focusing on, and we have been implementing it.
Thanks for that, Hitesh. Saumendu, I mean, and capital market is one area, at least, visibly the fintech we see a lot of traction in lending, for example. For some reason, there is a lot of traction in lending, and of course, payments, which is our focus, what I do within FSS. But capital markets is, it's not visibly known, and it has, enough potential for both parties, to kind of leverage. I'm talking from both the stakeholder standpoint. So how is the scene? How do we uh, attract more fintechs to play in that space? Or can you throw some kind of stats in terms of how many are really working on it? What are the opportunities? Because we see a lot of people from the fintech forum attending this event. They would be kind of keen to see how in India capital markets as a business, what are the opportunities for them and what's the scale? So can you throw
Sure.
some light on?
Sure. So, Satish, when we generally talk about fintechs, right, we usually make an assumption that it has got to do with some product. It may not be. If you think about capital markets and how long they have been in existence, they have very detailed processes that were defined and devised for a period and time which was majorly paper based, right? So when we talk about fintechs, we talk about opportunities in products as well as in automating processes, right? And I will give you examples, and you made a very interesting point about lending. So CAMS, because CAMS has 70% of the market share in mutual fund industry, we were the first to launch a completely automated loan against mutual funds module, which means that if you are an investor who has mutual fund units, you can avail a loan to the allowed amount completely digitally within 3 minutes. So you start your journey from the bank, you see how many units you have available across mutual funds, you say which ones you want to you want to put in lien, and the bank does the calculation, the loan marking happens, the lien marking happens, everything under 3 minutes, right? So those are kind of opportunities which are in the product front. But let's say you are a fintech company who has a great NLP module, right? Or a great computer vision module, right? Now, what are the kind of business problems we face? So let's say I get tens of thousands of paper forms where somebody is saying that I want to avail a insurance facility, right? On a 7-page mutual fund form, it's a single tick mark, which means that out of 200 fields that some company is digitizing from paper to computer data entry, it's a single form, or it's a single tick, right? Which there is a chance that I will miss out when I'm doing data entry, and which creates financial liability for both us as well as the mutual fund company as well as the insurance company, right? That, and if you are a small fintech who has done a great algorithm around computer vision to figure out that which part of a page has a tick mark or not with close to 100% accuracy, that just fits into a complete journey, right? So a lot of these opportunities, or I will give you one more example. One of the most critical functions in mutual funds is change of bank mandate, right? Now, it is a very detailed process with multiple checks and balances. Now, we have digitized it completely, where you just give your old and new check, and we read the check number through AI. We compare it with what is there in your folio. Then we do a penny drop, and there's a process, right? So the point I'm trying to make is, if you are a fintech org company who has a great idea or a great product, right? It may not be a complete journey for the capital market player, but it can fit nicely into a journey and add value there and reduce or increase efficiencies there. So that's how I would look at how fintechs can participate in capital markets, is in automating a lot of these processes. And of course, there are opportunities around new products like loan against mutual funds or loan against securities or KYC or robo advisories and stuff like that. So we have both these opportunities.
Yeah, I think very valid points, Somendu, because I think it's not necessarily, you don't have to come with a unicorn idea to build a product which would kind of drive some million customers or going viral in short period of time. But if you're able to pick those process gaps, which has significant financial, or in this context of this theme, significant customer experience impact, and that's of value. Because most often, a fintech contribution into a business area may not be completely tangible in nature in terms of it gives true dollar outcome to the parties that are involved, but it could give a intangible experience to customers, which would probably increase stickiness of the customers, drive more transactions that they could do more often. Because today, the number of transaction a customer or a prospect would do in capital markets probably I don't know the numbers, but maybe it's very low, right? So the
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
repetitiveness of a common man, I'm saying, not the registered agencies, or but then how, if you drive more of these common mans to find it more comfortable, use it more often, and that's customer, that's more intangible, but that would indirectly drive better financial outcomes. Yeah, that's very true. I think the understanding those process and being able to solve it. But how do you help? I might have the great NLP like you talked about. When does this marriage happen? Where does this forum? How often do we get to meet? And what is your
Sure.
answer to kind of a probable fintech player who has something great but doesn't know what problem it will solve?
Sure. So it's a great question, Satish, because that is where this innovation sandbox comes in. Uh, so there's this website called innovation-sandbox.in. So a fintech player can go there, may not understand anything about capital markets, but just may talk about what is the idea or what is the algorithm that that person has built, right? And that person, this company or this student, let's say, right, can just upload their idea, and a case that they think this idea will solve. And this entire case uploaded is read by all the market participants. So you think about, so both the exchanges are there, they can think and they can read and they can figure out, okay, whether this solves any business case for them, or both, all the RTAs are there, both the depositories are there, which means that in the capital market, the entire ecosystem is available there, who is reading your idea and can think of use cases that will, they in their processes can be solved, and or whether this company, if they have a great idea and they want to form a different company altogether, how will it interact with this capital market ecosystem. So I mean, I would say that if you think about Zerodha, right, when it first came into existence, it was a very simple concept, and how they have grown, right? It would have taken them time, because interacting with anybody would have been a different, discrete affair, right? So now, if you have the next idea, and if you are the company which wants to really disrupt how inclusion happens in capital markets, how a guy who has no, and you spoke about numbers, right? Our capital market penetration to FD penetration in the country is 1:6, which means for every 6 people who have a fixed deposit, only one of them has invested into capital markets, be it through stocks or mutual funds or anything, right? And it's an initiative of the capital market body to make sure that people understand, right, that the money that they are investing with mutual funds is safe, or capital markets is safe. And the, so what is happening, so we are saying that you can, so liquid mutual funds, right, if you invest today you can redeem today, so you understand that your money is not stuck somewhere and you can get it back immediately. So it gives them the comfort that they have, like they have in financial solutions like FDs, right? And Hitesh, it's not a comparison with how your banks have penetration, and capital markets won't have that kind anytime soon. But these kind of engagement with the fintech industry, the startup ecosystem, is to make sure that the solutions kind of make the entire cycle very fast, so that more people have faith in capital markets, and then the financial inclusion increases and people are able to invest fast and invest easily. So yeah, so this website, this platform that I talked about, innovation-sandbox.in, people can come in, give and submit their ideas, gets read by everybody, and can be taken up by as a solution by any of the MIIs, or can be developed into an independent product with the help of all the players in the market.
Perfect. I think that should, people should start visiting what Saumendu said, because there is huge amount of opportunity, and clearly 1:6 is a great number to look up. You know, it's a pure opportunity number that we could see. And I think, in principle, if you look at it, it's all about building this whole ecosystem, right? So, and the whole idea of putting Sandbox, both in this case, SEBI, or in this example, Hitesh talked about how ICICI has its own set of Sandbox. You know, so how easy it is for somebody to access it. So while you also all of API product Hitesh. So one of the important or the most challenging thing is to, you know, give those access of APIs and SDKs for various fintechs to come and try out, right? So how, you know, how much time does it take if I have to onboard into your Sandbox within ICICI, and what are the formalities, right? So we talk about 3 minutes to open an account or 30 seconds to start transacting after it. You have some interesting facts to share, Hitesh, and you know, how quick is it to onboard?
Yeah. So ICICI Bank API, developer portal, we want, our vision is to make it as an open innovation platform. Idea is that we want to, create as many APIs as possible, and, make it available for startups and fintechs to use those APIs, create innovative products on top of it, using those APIs. So what we are trying to do is that, one, we are creating a lot of sample user journeys while, you have an API available, but many times you struggle that what could be the use of a particular API, right? So important aspect is one needs to have an API documentation which is very well laid down. There are sample journeys which are very laid down using those APIs, how one can create product. And then the entire developer community, uh, marketing or getting them on board and making those tools available to developers. Using those tools, they can consume these APIs and create products. So I think our API ecosystem is comprising of mm, all the ingredients which are required, right from using API, creating a product, and helping, even helping developers to use tools to create those products, right? So we are following a process where if anybody has a use case in mind or they want to access our API, they sent a request to us, and we approve those requests and provide the access to our API developer portal. We open up the API developer portal to our developers, our startups uh, during the time when we run hackathons. It's a free, completely open access when we run this kind of activities. So what we want to do is we want to promote more and more startups to to look at our APIs, to use them in in their product bundling, and if there are any challenges, we have a API developer team which helps them to overcome those sets of problems if they are encountering any sets of issues consuming those APIs. So it's a very well laid down process and ecosystem, and I would urge all of the startups to you know make use of our API developer portal, and we are more than happy to work with all of you using not only, and if any of these startups, if any of those startups have ideas also in terms of APIs they are looking for and which are not available on our portal, we are more than welcome to suggestions, if there are any. Yeah.
Yeah. So Hitesh, in summary, I understand it's very quick. You have a lot of APIs and SDKs that you expose, and continuously you run these kind of events like demo days, hackathon, and bring the community to come in and participate. And I think that's creating those platforms are very important in these times. And I presume this is a very important initiative from a board perspective, because at least in the banking sector, banking, financial, and of course in capital markets, we have seen that globally the boards and regulatory authorities are taking this very seriously, to be able to offer more to their customers, bring in more transparency to the customers, and give access to products, because today the products, as you rightly said, in certain partner ecosystem where you're playing, you're trying to create products which are very relevant to that segment, right? So earlier it was like you one size fits all, you take this product or you walk away, you don't care what the customer wants. Today, with the segment of one, customer demand or customers are looking for something very specific what they're looking at. And again, for different segments, the way the segments are getting broken down are getting smaller and smaller, and your ability to dynamically define products on the go which will meet those needs are getting very precise. And that's where the fintech can make a huge impact, by accessing to this captive customer base, be it ICICI or be it in SOM in this case, through the entire capital markets, where there is a SEBI is providing an option to this captive customer base where they could go try out those scenarios on these sample data and solve this bigger opportunity. Like open banking has created avenues globally. It's coming up very sharply. I think these Sandbox initiative driven by SEBI, in our case STPI, with FinBlue in the who's running this event, there are a lot of opportunities that are coming up. So Saumindu, how, if a fintech has to come in, do they have to be Indian registered fintech? Because fintech with the open banking and open APIs, anybody could log into your innovation sandbox and start trying out. So are there any constraint? One, two, uh, fintech players come up with very small niche ideas. How is there some kind of an exclusivity that comes into play? I mean, which will kind of restrict them to work with you, or gives the platform, gives you more access, but at the same time opens it up for them to go, encouraging them to work, beyond what you are looking for from your perspective. So just from people who are listening, they might have this question. I thought it would be probably to ask you something.
No, it's a great question, Satish. Both are important questions. So initially, when we were setting up the sandbox, the discussion with SEBI was what should be the qualifying criteria, right? What should be the capital? How do we figure out that people are serious, or is just because everybody has another job, and is it kind of really driving innovation, or is it just taking up bandwidth, right? And then we decided that even at the cost of some misses, it should be just available to everybody, right? So this innovation sandbox, if you are an individual without any net worth, so you are a student, right, in school, you can come and you can participate as part of this sandbox. Today it is kind of restricted to Indians, people, but you can participate with an Indian entity or a set of or an Indian group. If you are a foreign organization or a foreign group of individuals, if you have a Indian partner, you can partner up with them and then apply for this innovation sandbox access, right? Uh, and the second question that you had, can you repeat that question so that I can give?
Is there an exclusivity that
Yeah. Good. Yeah. So no. So the idea of the sandbox is not to kind of get these people and uh, catch them and restrict their innovation or idea. The idea is that these people should get access to data, access to infrastructure, and access to try out their ideas, but they can then decide themselves that whether they want to work with any of these MIIs, or they want to work with whosoever they want to work with, right? Or they form their own organization, own entities, and create their own platforms. So as I was giving you this example, that somebody came up with the idea of creating an alternate exchange where you can dematerialize any asset and people can become shareholders. Now that is in contest to an exchange that already exists, right? But it is not that because of that this idea will get deprioritized or anything. So tomorrow one of the two exchanges can plan to work with this, or this exchange can be a third exchange completely, right? So there is no restriction in terms of whether they get kind of tied up to one of the MIIs that they plan to work with, or the use case that they have. They can completely work independently, take their idea even international, right? But in terms of participation, yes, today it is restricted to Indian nationals. But if you are from outside India, you can partner with somebody from India and apply to this innovation sandbox.
Great. So I think we have the last 3 minutes of our interesting panel discussion. So I'll probably kind of try and do the conclusion, try and do the justice of this conclusion. It's not going to be easy from what we heard from Hitesh and Saumendu. Firstly, I think thanks to Finteract Conference 2021 for giving all of us a great opportunity. My name is Satish. I'm the Deputy Chief Product Officer for FSS, a payment tech firm with a global presence, and we have great products and platform. And along with me, I have Hitesh, who heads startup engagement for ICICI Bank, and Saumendu Ganguly, who's the Vice President for products, data analytics, and also as part of the member within SEBI Innovation Sandbox. Redefine tech, build an ecosystem is the theme of this conference. And I think our panelists here kind of shared real practical examples that's been happening. Good to see SEBI launching this last year, and Saumendu chairing it, and sharing some great insights of how easy it is for somebody to come in. Hitesh not only talked about validation of these ideas, he's already onboarded 10 such fintechs and more on the pipeline, very promising. And I think very clearly, we got a diverse view from established bank and from CAMS, which is one of a leading player in the capital market space within the country. We have seen both sides of their view. The whole market is focused towards tapping into the fintech ecosystem. Co-optation is the new buzzword. I think you have to find ways of collaborating with competition and driving innovation. And it's great to see this with the team clearly tying in with building an ecosystem. We see this growing. India as a market is thriving. We have seen the number of unicorn even during 2020. The numbers have really grown up. The number of new startups are growing up. Such initiatives by the government, by private large corporate, and the local players across different tech and the business segments is creating a very thriving environment for youngsters, fintech players, and investors to kind of look at this market. India as a market is growing significantly. Our projections for GDPs and outcomes are very promising, and I think I'm very excited to be part of this journey and building products and growing the next set of problem solving to address customer experience. Thank you, Somendu. Thank you, Hitesh, and thank you, Finteract 2021 for this great opportunity. And signing off from my end.
Thank you.